What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And so I've really learned to put one foot in front of the other, good, bad, or indifferent, because eventually that storm passes.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the
Andrew, we have done well over 1,300 podcasts. And I believe that today's interview with the founder of Scribe Media about overcoming racism, poverty, abuse, and any possible excuse you could ever make en route to achieving the American dream may just be the hottest show we've done so far. Do you agree?
I do agree. It was incredible, what he had to say and how he said it, and his story and his background and his drive. It was all just so incredible.
Now, his company, Scribe Media, has helped authors to now produce over 1,000 books. And he's done books for huge people like the renowned comedian Tiffany Haddish, the Navy SEAL turned speaker David Goggins, and 1,000 authors. He's a successful author, a successful entrepreneur. His entire journey to success is epic, but at times it does get a little bit rough. So we have done some editing, but I'm just warning you. There's no curse words, but his life was rough. His story was rough. His story is real. And I think that this may just be the reality check that somebody needs today.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here.
Yes, and yes, Thrive Nation. On today's show, we have yet another incredible guest. On today's show, we're interviewing a guest who really should not have succeeded. This guy was born as the son of a drug-dealing father who also, he was duly employed as a pimp. He was then orphaned and was raised by a single mother on welfare. And he grew up in these super rough areas of Dayton, Ohio, and had multiple stays in the juvenile justice system, and not for tourist reasons. He had to go there. He almost didn't graduate high school, and he never graduated from college. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. J.T. McCormick. J.T., welcome onto the show, and how are you, sir?
My man, Clay, I am always excellent, man. If you wake up in the morning, your feet hit the ground, better be excellent.
Oh, put that on a shirt. Put that on a shirt. Okay. Now, my understanding is that you're now the father of 4 children. You've achieved the high income goals you always had. You're the CEO of Scribe Media. But for the listeners out there who aren't familiar with Scribe Media, I'd love for you to share with our roughly 500,000 listeners out there, what is Scribe Media?
So Scribe Media, we created a new way for people to write their book. And you heard me say earlier, everyone has a story. And with traditional publishing going by the wayside, now we've created a model where everyone can write their book. And we do it through a series of interviews. It's been proven time and time again, one of the hardest things to do is to think and write at the same time. So we don't want you to do any of the writing. We don't want you to put your fingers on the keyboard. We want you to sit back, grab your beverage of choice, and let us take you through a series of interviews where we pull that information from you, where we grab those details, the story that make for a great book. Then we do the edits, the revisions, the cover design, the interior layout, everything from A to Z. Over the course of 7 months, we publish your book. And when I say we publish your book, this isn't like you're running down to Kinko's and stapling some papers together and you've got some self-published garbage. We've worked with David Goggins. We've worked with Tiffany Haddish. We have worked with a series of authors. Let's see, we're over 1,000 authors we've worked with now.
Wow.
So yeah, we've created a new way for people to publish their book.
What does it cost? I know we have a lot of entrepreneur listeners out there, and they're going, okay, here's the catch, JT. This is going to actually cost some money. This just in. It might cost some money. How much money is it going to cost to do it?
It is definitely going to cost some money. So it's $36,000, but you don't have to stroke that check all at once. You can pay it over the course of 8 months and make it $4,500 a month.
You said $36,000.
$36,000.
Now we have one listener out there who had something he wanted to say. Now let me quick. We had a listener who wanted to boo, but I just want to tee up this idea. I have spent more money than this writing my own book. Like I paid somebody more. I'm not going to slam him on Andrew. I'm not going to slam somebody on the show here.
No,
but I have paid somebody more money than this, and and the book never got done. JT,
it's true.
Exactly. I cannot tell you how many people I received that story from. And here's the biggest thing. Do you know how many people out there have said, I've been wanting to write my book 3, 5, 7 years? Right. Well, now here's the opportunity. And with most of our authors, if not all, every one of them, when they hear the price, are like, oh, okay, I'll just chalk that up to my marketing budget. I'll go ahead and write that off of my taxes. Or they realize, oh, I just need to sign one client, or I just need to have one speaking engagement, and I can make this thing pay for itself. So when you look at the ROI behind the book,
right,
it's not that $36,000 is expensive at all. And I say that with it's all relative, because God knows when I was a kid, $36,000 was a lot of money.
Well, for my dear friend JT, I want to make sure I'm not coming across as a charlatan huckster who's absolutely in love with a guy who no, I'm saying this is objectively speaking. Andrew, you know this. We have a lot of people that ask me, Clay, could you help me write a book?
It's true.
And I don't know a lot of our listeners that have a full-time graphic design team like I have, a full-time typesetting team, a full-time. I mean, before I had a team, $36,000, I would say yes, please. Let's do that twice. So JT, I read an article that appeared in Entrepreneur Magazine where it said what you can learn from some of the best company cultures in America. And lo and behold, there was your quote. And they quoted you as saying, funerals are a dumb custom. People say all these nice things about someone, but in most cases, that person never heard those nice things when they were alive. My friend, what are some of the processes that you have in place that have allowed you to create such a healthy company culture where you actually are praising people while they're alive?
Well, so let me dive deeper into that. And you led off the show with this. I work on common sense, so I don't have a deep academic background, and it's just never made sense to me that people go to funerals, they stand up there, everyone says all these nice things, and literally probably 75% of the things that people say, the person that's dead that can't hear now never knew anyone felt that way. So I've always just thought funerals were really dumb. And so what we've gone and done with our culture is twice a year we have summit, and we sit around and we list out our strengths and obstacles, and people weigh in on, oh, Clay's this, Clay's that, he's super great, he's helpful, He is humble, so on and so forth. And every time, every summit, people are like, wow, I never knew you all felt that way about me. So what we want to do is have people bring their whole self to work. We don't believe there's a work self and a life self. If you have challenges at home, to the best of our ability and your willingness, we want to help you with those challenges that you may be facing. If you have challenges at work, we want to be straightforward with you and tell you how ways you could improve and how we can help you there. So the culture itself is based on the whole person, not the work-life balance that you hear people say, which is complete BS.
Okay, and just to give you a little context, I don't expect you to do copious amounts of research about me because I'm the one interviewing you. But just for you to know, our listeners already know this. My partner and I, Dr. Robert Zellner, we have 13 multi-million-dollar companies that we've built. So there's an auto auction called the Z66 Auto Auction. There's an optometry clinic. There's a chain of men's grooming lounges. It's like country club meets haircuts called the Elephant in the Room. And there's a lot of companies. And Andrew, at the Christmas party this year, how many people roughly were at the Mayo Hotel for our party?
Oh, man, there's probably like 400 people there.
There's a lot of people, JT. A lot of employees, their wives, their spouses, their husbands. And it's a neat culture, but we're very intentional about grooming it. And I 100% agree with what you just said. But I think somebody out there is thinking, this is what they're thinking. They're going, you mean I'm supposed to compliment my employees? Yes, you, Andrew, was very sexy.
Oh.
I've always liked you a lot.
Oh, wow.
And they go, oh, frick, this is too weird. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. No, but seriously, people, I think when they hear compliment, they almost go, this is a romanticized, fictitious, charlatan idea. There's somebody out there saying that. You know what I mean? There's somebody out there going, this is BS. There's no way you do this. They're going to, well, you know how much money it costs to have this kind of thing? So, Andrew, tell me if I'm wrong, but do we not have a all-staff meeting every week for 1 hour?
Every single Monday.
Why?
Because it's a great time to get everyone together to update everybody about where the company is going, where we could do better, what we need to work on, and it's just a way for you to be able to interact with everybody because you're always so busy throughout the week that you have to have a scheduled time where you are interacting with the team.
And with 50 people who are on average making $30 an hour, let's say, that meeting costs me $1,500 a week, and people say, Clay, is that actually a good use of your money? So I would like for you to help the listener out there who says, JT, come on now. This is going to cost a lot of money to have a summit. Where do you have it? How much does it cost? Talk to us about the facts and figures. How much does it cost to have the summit? Where do you have the summit? Help our listeners out there.
So roughly, first of all, I compliment you both because we do the same thing. All of our meetings are on Mondays. I believe you come in, you do your meetings, you update everyone, and then the rest of the week is left for execution. And so with the summits, and we pride ourselves on being fully transparent, this summit that we're going to have here coming up in January is going to cost us right about $40,000. And our company is 70% here in Austin and 30% remote. So we fly all these people in, we put them up for 4 days, and we get together. And this is what we do twice a year. We do it in January. We do it again in late July, early August. But yeah, it's $35,000, and the culture is the foundation of the company. I believe you put people first. People, process, and profits. And so many companies get that out of order. They put profits first, so people are last. Some places put process first and people second. My belief is you can have a flawless process, but if you put bad people in it, they will wreck your process. So I believe if you give me great people, we can build great processes and we can equal profits.
Andrew, I'm in the process right now, as JT was talking, I was in the process of registering on GoDaddy a new cult that I'm starting.
Oh.
And so if it's okay, I would like to repeat to you the mantra that I want to start our cult with here.
Okay.
Here we go. People, processes, profit. Andrew, please repeat.
People,
processes, profit. One more time.
Okay.
People. More of an echo sound though, please. People, profit, processes. No, I got it wrong. People, processes, profit. Why does it have to happen in that order? Why does it have to happen in that order, JT? I agree with you, but someone out there is saying, I don't agree. Why does it have to happen? People, processes, profit.
Well, it's like anything. There's going to be a ton of people that don't agree. I don't expect everyone to agree with everything that comes out of my mouth.
Because they're wrong. Because they're wrong.
Well,
no big deal. No big deal.
Think of it this way, Clay. Here's I'll take it back to my childhood, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no,
the reason why I'm okay with that, being mixed race, half white, half black as a kid, one of the greatest gifts I was ever given is I learned early in life, 4 or 5 years old, everyone's not going to like you. Black people didn't like me because I was half white. White people didn't like me because I was half black. So when I execute in business or my thought process, I never do it in a situation where, oh, but I want people to like me. I'm okay. People are not going to like me. They're not going to agree with me.
Yeah.
If you don't put people first, in my opinion, why are you in business? If it's all about profits, I just believe your business is to serve and to serve people.
Okay, I have a racially divisive question for you, and if you don't like it, I'll pick up on the subtle clue when you hang up on me. So this is my I am a Caucasian Andrew, you've seen me. I'm like Casper.
Yeah, I can verify.
No pigment at all. I never go outside. But I refuse to go to white church, quote unquote white church, because I don't like it. No one can clap on beat. Everyone needs rhythm therapy. So I always go to African American churches. That's where I go. Growing up, did you whenever you went to church, did you go to the African American church? Did you go to the Caucasian church? What kind of church?
So unfortunately, I was not introduced to church as a child. There was so much chaos going on. Church would have been a very welcome place for me, but I wasn't introduced to church, religion, God until I was in my mid-teens. And it's funny you said that. When you were doing your chant of people, process, and profits, there was a part of me that was sitting here that wanted to go,
Right. Yeah, I this is interesting, though, but I love the African American church because there's a church called the Metropolitan Baptist Church that I love to go to in Tulsa. And the pastor will say something. He'll say, today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about faithfulness. And right away there'll be a first person in the front row go, He'll go, faithfulness. What does that mean? And the guy in the back will go, preach it. And he'll go, I will do this. I will. And someone goes, okay. And all of a sudden it's response, and it's like they're hyping him up. And pretty soon, pretty soon, about probably 15 minutes in, they start passing out the fan.
Oh yeah.
The Caucasian church, no one passes out a fan. People are sweating. People are beginning to sweat, and everyone can clap on beat. At the Caucasian church, nobody, JT, it's like people are swatting at bees, unable to find the beat. They're like, I don't know. I've heard the beat is here, but what? And I was a disc jockey before I sold the company. It was America's largest wedding entertainment company called DJConnection.com. So I've gone through extensive rhythm therapy. I just want to ask you, being that you're mixed race, do you identify more with R&B music? Are you more into rock music? Talk to us about this.
It's interesting. I've had the ultimate luxury that I'll straightforward. I love George Strait. One of my favorite songs is I Can Still Make Cheyenne. But when I'm in the gym, I'll be the first one to tell you it's Kendrick Lamar, DMX. I'm an older guy,
really?
So I like some of the older stuff.
Up in here.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't fall in one particular genre, especially it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm in the gym, you got to go hardcore hip hop, rap music. You just can't do country in the gym. But if I'm in the car, if it's not an audiobook, I prefer country or classical piano.
I'll say this because I want to just let my racism get out there real quick here. As White Chocolate, I can tell you this. As the leading member of the White Chocolate Band, I only do R&B and rap. And I don't understand other genres, and I appreciate you if you do appreciate other genres, but you are, George Strait, I would say to you, really? And I respect that. But R&B, just R&B and rap, oh, that's so good. Okay, so now we move on. You, the very beginning, you did not graduate from high school, or you did graduate, but barely. You were kind of on that precipice of, should we give him a diploma or not? What was going on in high school?
So I technically did not graduate, so I didn't walk the stage. I didn't do all that. Yeah, so I had to go to summer school, take remedial courses to get my high school diploma.
Okay.
Some people would call that a GED. It says high school diploma on it, so I've got a diploma. Yeah, when I first was reunited with my mother at the age of 15, when I moved to Texas with her, they enrolled me, or my mother enrolled me in high school, and I was a sophomore. And we went in, and Clay, the counselor, she says, "Okay, you're a sophomore, you're 15. Okay, you should be in geometry." That was the first time in 15 years I had ever heard the word, and I didn't say a word, but I just went to the class. 6 weeks later, obviously my grades came in and everyone realized, okay, this kid's not too bright. My mother had me tested, and I was testing on a 5th and 6th grade level. So again, graduation rolled around, and obviously I didn't have enough credits to graduate, had to go to summer school to get my high school diploma. And as you said, never graduated college. So here I am.
Well, here's the deal. You're this entire show, Andrew, we have a guest who's trying to one-up me.
Yeah.
Because I struggled in school. I took algebra 3 times. It's well documented. I took my
true.
ACT 3 times. But this guy, he's my GPA was lower. Okay, fine. I say I grew up poor. He says I grew up more poor. I'm just throwing that out there. More poor. I say I grew up. I was abused a little bit as a kid. He says I was abused and I dealt with racism. It's just the whole show. Really, today's show should be called One Upsmanship. My bottom was lower and my higher was higher with JT. Okay, so I want to ask you about racism because I grew up in a town called Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, that is primarily Caucasian. I went to middle school at Sequoia Middle School, and because I stuttered, I got beat up a lot, pushed into lockers, just dealing with a lot of people that were, they wanted to make fun of the kid that stutters. On the bus, everyone would chant, Clayton, Clayton, because I couldn't say my own name. It was a horrible thing. Then I went to Minnesota. I moved there when I was 13. It was the whole town. Everybody there was from like Sweden. They're from it's the Nordic countries. Everyone's name was Sven Rauschendorfer. Don't you know Sven Leaf? A lot of my best friends. Their name was Leaf. Aaron Rauschendorfer. These are real names. I'm not making this up. Bjorn.
To say that you did not grow up in the most diverse communities.
No, I remember. Check this out. This is a true story. My friend Eugene Willis. We'll put him on the show notes.
Got it.
Eugene Willis, who I met at Oral Roberts University. I called him Black Thunder. He called me White Lightning. We became very good workout friends. And I brought Eugene back to Minnesota because he was looking for a job. And Eugene was the only African American in Cokato, Minnesota. And people were like, "Wow, you're well spoken. Wow, you're articulate." You know how those condescending compliments people say to African Americans, like, "Wow, you're articulate." Like, it's ridiculous, So anyway, Eugene Willis, Black Thunder, moved with me, went to Cokato. He's like, "Dude, there are no other black people at all in Cokato, Minnesota." True story. Put it on the show notes. There's 2,038 people that live there. My friend, what kind of racism and poverty did you grow up with? I mean, talk to us about the racism, the poverty. What take us to the bottom.
Oh gosh, so it was. I'm 47, so I was born in 71.
You look 27.
And I appreciate that, but it's back in the 70s. I mean, it is what it is. Racism, mixed race was not looked upon, and it was highly looked down upon. And like I said, black people didn't like me because I was half white. White people didn't like me because I was half black. I was called Oreo, zebra, chocolate vanilla swirl, color confused, half breed. And so you couple that with poverty, it was brutal. And I say this all the time, Clay. I got past the things that I went through. It was more of what I watched my mother experience, where, people calling her, if you guys got to bleep this out, but people calling my mother a lover and spitting in her face, or us getting kicked out of an apartment because they found out she had a mixed race child and they didn't want mixed race people living in the building. Although white and black people lived there, they didn't want mixed race. So it was more of watching what my mother experienced that bothered me more than what I went through.
If you think about mixed race, you might think about Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
You might think about President Obama.
Yep.
You might think about Alicia Keys. There's a lot of people you might think about, but when you were born, that was the absolute worst possible scenario.
Yes.
I went to church. I won't mention their names, but I went to a church where there was an African-American man who married a Caucasian woman. And I went to college with some of these guys. And it was this is 1999. And people were still going, "What's the deal with those guys? Why do they always want to date white women?" Now, their parents are black and white. Mom was white, dad was black. And they're going, what's their deal? Why do they always date white girls? Now, in fairness to these guys, they dated black women and white women. But people always would go, why do they always date white women? What is the deal? I want to ask you this. What is, again, you're not going to offend anybody. I just want to know, because I can't relate to that. I just want to get, what is the deal? Why do people get so hung up on this idea of race? What is the deal? Even now, I mean, it's 2018. What is the freaking deal?
You know, I've said this to so many people that will ask me the same question. I personally don't believe, and this isn't me accepting it, I don't believe racism will ever go away. You can go to Africa and there are black people who are racist against other black people.
True.
So I don't believe racism is ever going to go anywhere. And you're always going to have people that look at that. I was asked this question by my own family sometimes when I was a kid. Which would you rather be, white or black? As if I had a choice. And so I don't believe it's going anywhere. Yes, my wife is blonde hair, blue eyed. And I've been asked that question as well. Why do you only date white women? I mean, that to me, that's the equivalent of asking someone, well, why do you like women with dark hair? Why do you like women with green eyes? I mean, there's no difference other than that's who you were attracted to. So it's that type of mentality and the racism that surrounds it. I don't believe it'll ever go anywhere.
I agree with you. I think it's not. I think it's a discussion that never ends. Have you ever been to Oklahoma before, JT?
I have been to Oklahoma, not the most, again, racially diverse place in the country.
Why did you come to Oklahoma? Were you here for a sod farm tour or what?
No, so back when, early in my career, I actually worked for a gentleman who owned payday loans, and he had a ton of them in Oklahoma, Ada, Oklahoma, Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Muskogee.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I've been a few places in Oklahoma, but yes, I have been there many a time.
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there for the listeners out there. I was in Detroit one time, near Tiger Stadium back before they built the new one, and I went to a Subway, and the Subway was primarily run by African Americans, and the community's obviously African Americans, and I got refused service. Never happened. It never happened to me before, but the guy at the Subway would not serve me. Like, he acted like I wasn't there. He's like ghosting me, he's looking at me, but he wouldn't serve me. I was the only white guy in the line. I'm going, holy crap, what is this guy's deal? But if I look at it objectively, I've seen that so many times in reverse, where Caucasian people just won't hire someone because they're black. I've seen the same thing. I've only experienced it like one time. I was in Detroit, and they would seriously would not serve me a sandwich. It was the craziest thing ever, and I thought, this is terrible. But one of my good friends, Andrew, we talk about on the show a lot, his name is Clifton Talbert. And by the way, JT, I would encourage you to write that name down. Clifton Talbert, Taulbert. I really think you should reach out to him at some point. You guys have a great relationship. He's the first African-American west of the Mississippi to open up a bank.
Oh, wow. And
his life was made into a movie called Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored, starring Felicia Rashad. And it was a 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert back in the day. And he helped introduce the Stairmaster into the marketplace. But he was actually not allowed to enter into the front door of a bank when he grew up in Glen Allen, Mississippi. And so he decided to open a bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I really do. If you reach out to him and you shamelessly name drop my name, you guys would become fast friends. Because I'm not sure how old he is, Andrew. He could be 60 or 107. He's like business Yoda. But Clifton Talbert, I promise you, this guy was a huge mentor in my life, and I think you guys would hit it off because there's so many parallels between your life and his life. With your life, when did you hit rock bottom? When did you say this is the worst? When did you say this was the worst part, JT?
Wow. So I'm gonna say something here real quick to go. We're gonna go backwards to the race piece as well.
Yeah.
There is something that I noticed that you kept doing that I won't. I just refuse to.
Got it.
You keep referencing African American, but if you notice, I keep saying half white, half black. I just refuse to say African American. Elon Musk is African American. He was born in South Africa. He's an American citizen. I refuse to say it. I feel like it's some politically correct word that was put into place. And again, I know I'm probably going to offend a lot of black people or God knows who I'll offend. But me personally, I am half white, half black. I'm no more proud to be half black than I am to be half white. But We don't say European white people. Why do we say African American?
Can I real quick cue up a sound clip as I think about what I want to say to you real fast here? Just real quick. This is just a.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Okay, so here is the deal. As a Caucasian, I walk on eggshells because I have a very diverse workforce. You know, we have Asians, we have African Americans, we have Italians, we have Mormons, and there are certain people that love to sue people like me and you. You know what I mean, JT?
Yes,
Once you get to a certain level, they love to sue me for not being politically correct. You know what you get the idea.
Yep.
So I have learned to say African American because that's the move. Now, I played basketball at a very high level in high school, and we would not say that word. You know what I mean? We would say black, white. We wouldn't even talk about it really, but if we did, it'd be like, dude, white dude can actually jump. Good job. Or
Right.
you know, and they would joke about it because we call it the 10% club, but basically 10% of white guys could jump and 10% of black guys couldn't jump. And we would joke about this endlessly, you know, because if you were the guy on the team who couldn't jump and you were black, we're like, 10%. And if you were the white guy who could jump, 10%. And we had no issues. We weren't trying to sue each other. But once you earn a little bit of money, people want to take that money.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like I have to say African American just not to get sued. But I do agree with you. It is complete BS.
Yes. Yes. I find it to be complete BS. Half white, half black. I refer to black people. I mean, think of it this way. You hear people say first black president, Barack Obama. I even struggle with that. Here's why I struggle with it personally. I'm half white, half black, just like he is.
Right.
And when you say first black president, well, I was kind of, wanting to get some recognition for the mixed race people that just got elected president for the first time. So I don't.
And there's other people. And here's the thing that's crazy to me as well. President Obama, who, and people listen to this show, they know I'm pretty libertarian. You know, I'm like extreme libertarian. I'm kind of like, government, get out of the way, you know. But President Obama is, objectively speaking, an unbelievable speaker.
Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless.
Phenomenal speaker.
Unbelievable. Like the best in the world. So great. But I know a lot of people that voted for him just because he's quote unquote black.
Yes.
And I know people that were like, well, I can't vote for him because he's quote unquote. It's ridiculous. I mean, why can't we judge people based on their we're never going to move on past that, as you said earlier. But both you and President Obama realized, hey, you know what? I'm starting from the bottom, and I want to get here. And you didn't get stuck on the race thing. You moved on past the race thing. So I want to ask you, when did you hit bottom and realize, you know what? I've got to get through this.
For me, it happened, let's go right back, but right before the credit crisis or in the middle of the credit crisis, the recession. I was fortunate that I had amassed and made a little over $1 million. And then I was unfortunate or dumb and I had lost it all. So then I was broke, zero. I even call it negative broke. I had to borrow money from my stepdad and my best friend to pay my rent at times. And that was when I was at rock bottom. And
what year was that approximately? What year?
07, 08.
07. So 2007, you're at the bottom.
Very bottom.
Okay.
And like I said, negative bottom. I remember going to the grocery store or the convenience store with $10 in quarters in my pocket. And I said, can I have $10 on number 7? It was about 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I was embarrassed. And I remember walking back to the car thinking to myself, how did I allow myself to get here again? And that's when it really hit me when I was in my little 1-bedroom apartment. I remember saying to myself, okay, I've been broke before. I know how to get out of that part. But the part that I had to struggle with and really look at myself in the mirror was really say, okay, you've got a horrible character. You can't hold a relationship. You're horrible. You're a monster with the way you treat women. You're disrespectful. So now that you've had money and the money's gone again, now you're left with nothing but your character. who do you want to be going forward? And that was the moment where I decided, okay, we're going to make some changes in life, and no one can change me but me. So what do I want to do, and who do I want to be?
That is heavy. So you realized that you were your only, you were your biggest problem.
Yes.
Somebody needs to write this down, but self-awareness, we've interviewed so many millionaires and billionaires on this show, and everybody that we've interviewed who becomes successful is very self-aware. They realize, you know what? This is my issue. This is what I'm good at. They're very self-aware. They look at themselves on kind of a meta level. And I love the cover of your book. It says, I got there. How I overcame racism, poverty, and abuse to achieve the American dream. But you also kind of clarified, and you're very self-aware. You said, I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not a rapper. I'm not an athlete, but I'm successful. My friend, what inspired you to first write this book?
So I don't like to fly.
Captain, how soon can you land?
I can't tell.
You can tell me I'm a doctor.
No, I mean, I'm just not sure.
Or can't you take a guess?
Well, not for another 2 hours.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
No, I mean, we can't land for another 2 hours. Fog has closed down everything this side of the mountains. We've got to get through to Chicago.
And I hit a lot of turbulence. And I remember thinking to myself, holy, if something happened to me, my children would not know where I came from. They wouldn't know that we don't know where our last name came from because my mother was given that name in the orphanage. And I wanted them to understand where I came from and have a legacy piece. I've always been infatuated with the Kennedys, the Ford family, the Rockefeller, where they can trace 6, 7 generations. Man, I can't trace 30 minutes. And so I wanted them to have this book as a legacy piece to know, okay, this is where our father came from. This is where we at least have a starting point. And that's why I did the book. I never wanted that book to go public, but through a lot of support, a lot of encouragement, I decided to make the book public. I mean, there's some horrific stories in there. And in fact, Clay, the reason why I did not want the book to go public is because I built an alter ego for myself. My actual name is Javon McCormick, but I knew, going back to the race card, I knew that if you saw the name Javon on a resume, I knew you would judge me. So I went by JT McCormick, and, I was articulate. And so I knew people.
Articulate.
There you go.
It's amazing. Can you, real quick, I'm sorry to harass you about this.
No, go for it.
How crazy is it
that
white people constantly say to people who have any pigment at all? Now, again, I've never seen the sun. I cannot relate to having pigment at all. I would love some pigment, by the way. I would love a little bit of mixed race in my life. I have no pigment. I'm pale. People call me the ghost. They call me Casper. I get it. So, again, but people say, you're so articulate. Why is that such a stupid, terrible, ridiculous statement that people make to people of color?
People may not want to admit this, but when I hear the phrase, it's basically saying that people of color can't be articulate, and you are incredibly surprised that someone that has some color is articulate. And I'll do you one better, Clay. You got to hear this one.
Yeah.
I was on a podcast recently,
and
someone said, what does JT stand for? And I said, Javon Thomas. And I kid you not, this is
no.
This hold on. This happened this year. So this isn't like, when I was 6 years old. This happened in 2018.
Okay.
I said, my name's Javon Thomas. And I kid you not, he says, oh, wow, sounds like an athlete's name.
Wow. Oh, Billy.
Okay. So again, this is okay. So we understand that people in our culture are viewing you a certain way. I think our culture puts certain expectations on people. They say, you were raised this way. This is how you should end up. You should be, if you're born African American, you should be a drug dealer, a rapper, an athlete. You should be that's what you do. You basically are a drug dealer, a rapper, or an athlete. When did you realize that you could achieve success and not be any of those things?
So Clay, let me put an addition on that as well.
Yeah.
For me, the reason why I said those three things is because from the lower economic communities of where I come from, those were the options: athlete, rapper, drug dealer, and I sucked at all three. And the piece why I lead with that and why I said that is No one told me about the fourth option, business, entrepreneurship. No one said any of that.
Right.
And that became when we decided to make the book public, that's what I wanted to lead with, because I want all those kids that are in the communities that I come from to know there's a fourth option out there. You can be a wealth advisor. You can be a pharmaceutical rep. You can be whatever the hell you want to be at this point. So that's why I led with those three, because it was more of an economic reality that these are your avenues out versus a race thing. It just so happens that, yeah, you can attach race to it as well, but it was more of an economic piece that I put those three together.
JT, this is probably going to get really weird, but Andrew, our entire show is weird.
That's
Can
true.
you go grab my brown bag off my chiropractic table?
Yeah.
I have a chiropractor that comes in each week, JT, to adjust me, because I'm sort of a diva. So he comes in, and I have this chiropractic table, and I'm going to have Andrew grab my wallet out of there. And I would like for you, I want you to buy a copy of JT's book. And JT, I need you to buy a copy of Clifton Tolbert's book real quick. You don't have to buy it right now, but when we get off, maybe buy it. It's called Who Owns the Ice House? And it's where Clifton Tolbert explains that basically his uncle Cleve was the only African-American in Glen Allen, Mississippi, who had ever owned a business. And so he asked Uncle Cleve, because remember, there was slavery, and then when slavery ended, there was this thing called indentured servants, where basically you were free, quote unquote, but you could work the land, but in order to stay in the house that you'd always grown up in, you had to pay more money per month than what you earned working on the cotton farms. So you were always in debt, So people who are free never even left the cotton farm at this point. And Uncle Cleve, Clifton's uncle, was the only person who'd ever left the cotton farm. He's the only person to become an entrepreneur, the only African-American entrepreneur in Glen Allen, Mississippi. And in the book, Who Owns the Ice House, Clifton explains how Uncle Cleve discovered that white people had ice boxes. They had back in the day before we had refrigerators and freezers,
Right.
You would actually buy a block of ice, and the block of ice would keep your perishables, cold. And you buy a block of ice, you put it in this container, and that was what you did. And Uncle Cleve was like, well, I could do that. So he was the first African-American entrepreneur in Glen Allen, Mississippi. Could you please explain why entrepreneurship has just now become more common to the black culture, to the quote-unquote African-American culture? Why is this just now becoming a new option for black people?
So I can only speak on my behalf, and I'm a big believer. If someone said, what do I still want to accomplish in life? I have this deep belief that we can change at a minimum 30% of the lower economic communities. And to answer your question direct, so much of it is you don't know what you don't know. And like I said, that's why I focused on those three things, because those were the only avenues that I knew out. Well, with the internet, with YouTube, with even Instagram, unfortunately, it's a double-sided sword. But those things have started to expose the communities to realize, oh, okay, there's another world outside of where we live.
Right.
But people don't know how to achieve those things. And so I'll give you an example of this. When I'm going to go off on a tangent, Clay.
Go off.
I find it offensive that we know in this country, it's a fact, 40% of all high school graduating students, white, black, lower economic, wherever, 40% of all students will not go to college. But we don't send you into the world with as much as a handshake. We don't teach you how to shake hands. I cannot figure out why we don't put show and tell into the high school system. And what I mean by that is, show me how to shake a hand. Tell me why it's important. Show me what attention to detail.
Real quick, I have to cue this up because you, my friend, can go off on a tangent. Preach it. Seriously, bring it, my friend. You've got it. Bring it.
Tell me, show me attention to detail. Tell me why it's important. Show me how to tie a tie. Tell me why it's important. I don't understand why we don't bring show and tell back to high school students. It should be a class from your freshman year to your senior year. Show me a pharmaceutical rep. Tell me how I can be one. A wealth advisor. But you know what the thing is? We're still teaching Columbus Day, and we know well he didn't discover America.
That's unbelievable. And it's true. It's true. People are still celebrating Columbus Day, but we know he did not discover America.
Holy cow!
Oh, thank you, Harry Carey. Think about that for a second, though. Why do schools specialize, in your opinion, from your perspective, why do schools specialize exclusively in teaching things that don't matter?
Be it for me to speak on the school system when I've got almost zero academic credentials, but I know the things that have helped me succeed in life, what I call the real world in business, shaking someone's hand, manners, yes ma'am, thank you, please, holding the door for someone. All of these things have led to so much of my success in my career. Asking questions, not being afraid to say no, ask for everything. The worst someone can say to you is no. Maybe they say F no, but at the end of the day, you still have what you had in the beginning, nothing. So if from a sales standpoint, think of it this way. I can call the Fortune 1000. If the first person says no, I've got 999 more, and someone's going to say yes. I've been asked time and time again, JT, how do you get over rejection? Here's how. When I was a kid and I would come home at night and I'd ask my mom if we were going to eat dinner, she said no because there was no food in the refrigerator. Okay, that hurt because I couldn't change my circumstances. If I make a cold call and you say no, okay, I got 999 other people. Someone is going to say yes. I can control my effort. I can't control things when I was a kid. So when I figured this out as an adult, I figured, okay, the one thing that I can do every day, I can control my work ethic, I can control my effort. No one can take that away from me, and I don't need a degree to control it.
This right here, Andrew,
Good stuff.
is my favorite interview we've done. We've had 1,500 shows, 1,500 shows. This right here is my favorite interview. I'm gonna cue up a clip for you. And as I cue up this clip, I want you to think about what it means, and I would like for you, just stream of consciousness, to unleash a knowledge bomb. Okay, so here we go. This is from every morning when I wake up, the listeners know, I listen to TD Jakes every morning. TD Jakes every morning while I get ready, take a shower. Every morning I listen to one of his sermons, and I want to cue this up, and I would like to get your take on it. So here we go.
So Jesus, who is exceptional, is having a conversation with ordinary. And exceptional and ordinary always have a conflict. Anytime exceptional people dwell in the midst of ordinary thinking people, there's always going to be conflict.
Your mindset is so positive. You just said, I'm going to make a list of 1,000 companies or 100 companies, and if one rejects me, I move on to the next one because it's better than, being told I don't have food in my cupboard. I don't have anything to eat tonight. I have the exact same mindset as you. I talk about this every day. Please explain why ordinary, like the poverty mentality, when it confronts the exceptional mentality, why there's sometimes conflict.
The biggest thing for me why I feel that there's sometimes conflict is, one, you don't know, and two, you're willing to accept the crumbs that are thrown your way. And I just refuse to accept anything. And I can only speak on my behalf, so hear me out on this, Clay.
Yeah.
What I realized is I refuse to be a victim. We live in a society where people, not everyone, but a lot of us don't take accountability for things anymore. We want to blame someone else. We live in a litigious society where we're willing to sue.
A lot of white folks are saying right now, a lot of white folks are saying to me, they're going, my dad was just so successful. He set a bar so high. I just can't possibly achieve what he achieved. You hear that a lot.
Well, and so here's the other side. I'll give you this. I don't fall to being a victim or a victim mentality. And you can edit this out if you want to.
Warning, the following content is rough.
Sure.
But when I sit back and I think about, okay, my father was a pimp. He fathered 23 children. Okay, my mother was an orphan, and I don't know where my last name comes from. Okay, my mother had an abortion before me when it was illegal, and the only reason she gave birth to me is because that abortion was so horrific that she rather have raised a child at a young girl straight out of the orphanage than go through that experience again. So that's the only reason I'm here, and I'll accept that. But here's the biggest one of all. One of my father's prostitutes used to molest me and force me to go down on her, and when I didn't do it right, she would smack me in the head, smack me in the face, and tell me do it right when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. Well, first of all, what does do it right mean? Because I'm 6 years old. But here's the thing. As I got older, I realized, and I said to myself, okay, I can sit back and ask, why was my father a pimp? Why was I sexually molested? Why don't I know where my last name comes from? Why? Nothing changes. But what I realized is I can change the next hour, day, week, month, and year. So I'm going to focus on being positive and looking to achieve my goals and dreams rather than be a victim of circumstances that I can't change anyway. And I got challenged on this the other day, Clay. A couple folks in a small town, they were saying, well, yeah, but JT, you make it sound so easy. I never said it was easy. The greatest choices that you make in life usually are the hardest choices that you will make in life. So where they challenged me was what they said, well, there's no opportunity in our little small town where we're from. I said, okay, great. I got one word. They said, what? I go, move. And they looked at me and they go, what? I go, move. Yeah,
okay, real quick. This is huge, hot news right there. If you live in a city that is terrible, get out of that town. The reason why I don't go back to Cokato, Minnesota, home of every Nordic, Swedish, Finnish, apostolic person, is because there's no economic activity. So I moved to a different place. People have to move. Talk about the geography, the poverty of geography, Talk to us about moving, JT.
Move. You just said it. It's the same reason why it took me 30 years to go back to Dayton, Ohio. I hadn't been back to Dayton, Ohio since the age of 15 years old. It took my father passing away for me to even consider going back to Dayton, Ohio. I went back, I went to his funeral, but again, like you said, Dayton's a horrific place, at least for me it was, and I didn't want to go back to Dayton. So I'm in search of opportunity, and the only person that can create opportunity for you is you. I got asked this the other day. Someone said, what's the number one soft skill you would recommend to students? And I said, self-love. You cannot expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself first. And at the end of the day, if you feel that no one else loves you, at least you love yourself.
Andrew, I have to hit the button. I have to hit the button. I hopefully. I kind of want to marinate for a second. Can you repeat what you just said real quick? I want to kind of marinate right there. You just said, if no one else loves you, what, JT?
I said the number one thing that you can do for yourself is self-love, because you can't expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself first. And at the end of the day, if you feel that no one else loves you, at least you love yourself.
It's the remix. Repeat it one more time. Someone needs to hear it for the third time. They need to kind of get it. Someone out there is going, I kind of get it. I'm taking notes. This is hot. Go for it one more time. Just what are you saying?
So the number one thing you can do for yourself is self-love. Love yourself first and foremost. You cannot expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself first. And if you do feel that no one else loves you, at least you love yourself.
Oh, that right there. Andrew, I'm going to marinate on that.
Oh, yeah. That's some good stuff.
You smoking the meat, JT, smoking, it's like slow rotisserie. I'm going to probably marinate on that for like a month right there. That was put that on a shirt, marinate on that. Just
notable quotable.
That right there is hot. Okay, so in your book, you have many chapters that are just powerful, and there's 11 chapters that I could find, and I would like to just go through a few of them real quick. Chapter 6, cleaning toilets. My friend, what is this chapter all about?
Wow. So my first job after I finally got my high school diploma was cleaning toilets at a place called Po Folks, at a restaurant called Po Folks. And every day I had to come in, and first thing in the morning I had to clean the toilets from the night before. And they were always filthy. It was dirty. And I remember one day, shortly after I got the job, I stood there and I looked and I said, okay, if this is going to be my job, I am going to ensure I have the cleanest toilets in San Antonio, the cleanest toilets in Texas, and everything that I do going forward, I'm going to make sure that I am the very best at it. If this is what I'm going to do, I am going to be the very best at anything it is that I'm doing.
But if you would have complained, the way to get promoted out of a job is to over deliver, to exceed the expectations of people. But if you would have complained and done the least amount possible, what would have happened?
Nothing. or you would have gotten fired. And so
right.
I the way I look at this is you made mention to being positive. I have found that negativity does nothing for anyone. It's never moved the needle. It's never advanced anyone anywhere. So for me, I'm all about being positive and keep things in perspective. Here's the biggest thing. If someone really wants to take a self-check, right now, there are people walking 2,000 miles from Honduras up through Mexico trying to get into this country for a minimum wage job. Now, I'm not taking a political stance here. What I'm saying is people are walking 2,200 miles for a minimum wage opportunity.
How bad does it have to be in Honduras? I mean, honestly, how bad is it?
Not only how bad is it, but here's the bigger thing for me, Clay. On my worst day of being sexually abused, of the things that I went through, I never had to wake up and face, okay, I got to get across the border. I was born in this country. So for me, if you are here in this country, you were born in this country, you are a citizen of this country, you should be able to achieve any dream and goal you want, but you got to go make it happen.
I would like for you to repeat that again. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing, I'm sure, at this point. But explaining it, you said if you were born in this country.
If you were born in this country, if you are a citizen of this country, you have to go out and create the opportunities for yourself. No one's going to do it for you. The opportunities are out there. I hate to sound like a 2 a.m. infomercial, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. Oh, I apologize, Clay.
No problem. This is a show that's but Andrew, we do a lot of editing.
Yeah, we do editing.
It's a family-friendly show.
It's true.
So you're gonna hear a lot of shh and but the point is you're bringing a reality to the situation that people need to hear. I would like to ask you your daily routines. Every super successful person we've interviewed on the show. We've interviewed Michael Levine, the PR consultant for Nike, for Prince, for Charlton Heston, for President Bush, President Clinton. We've had John Maxwell on the show, had the founder of Priceline going to be on the show. We've had so many huge names on the shows. And everybody who's at the level of super success seems to have a very regimented daily routine. I'd love to talk about the first 4 hours of your typical day and how you typically invest those first 4 hours of every day.
First 4 hours, every day I get up around 4 a.m., anywhere between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m. every morning. And the first thing I do, and let me preface this, there are days, I'm human, where I don't want to get out of bed. That's just factual. I'm human. And I want to hit snooze, or I want to turn off the alarm, and I want to go back to sleep. But on those days, when I feel that way, I say to myself, okay, right now, there's someone in a hospital room with cancer that's never going to leave that hospital room. They would give anything, Clay, to walk on their own 2 feet to the restroom and have the dignity to use the restroom in the restroom, not on themselves in the hospital bed. And all I have to do is get out of this beautiful bed and go make my dreams and goals come true. I get the out of bed. So my first 4 hours, I get up, I pray first and foremost. I live by five things: God, health, family, business, and investing. If it doesn't fall within those five, I don't do it. So my first thing I do, I pray. Then I go to the gym. I come back from the gym. I spend some time with the kids, getting them ready for school, eating breakfast, hanging out, acting stupid. I do some study on business and leadership. Then I head off to the office.
That is so profound what you just said. My dad passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease almost 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago. So 9/5, September 5th is when our radio show, we have a radio show version of this podcast that airs live, primetime on Talk Radio 1170, opposite of Rush Limbaugh. And my dad told me, he said, son, what day does your show go live? This is when he could still talk, before Lou Gehrig's disease had robbed him of the ability to speak. And I said, September 5th. Because at first they start you off on the weekends and at nights, And he said, I will make it until then. And my dad literally died on September 5th.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he fought like hell the entire way. And so whenever I don't want to get up, I'm going, my dad fought for freaking breath. I mean, I'm 38, man. I've got abundance of income, 5 great kids. I have nothing to worry about. My dad was delivering pizzas. You know, I always say, bro, my dad was delivering pizzas. My dad was working at Quick Trip. My dad was delivering, pizzas for Domino's. He's working at a convenience store.
Your dad was making it happen.
Yeah, he graduated top of his class from a private college called Oral Roberts University, and he did whatever he had to do. Who am I to sleep in? Yeah. I set my alarm every day. You and I have the same alarm clock, by the way. I'd listen to other interviews with you, but it's like 3:45. That's when I wake up. And you know what? Every day, I'm not going to try to one up you here. I guess I'm going to one up you. I don't ever want to wake up at that time. But once I do it, I'm happy I did it later.
So you didn't one up me, Clay. You one down me, because I actually enjoy getting up that early. There's this mindset that I have that I feel like,
you're
okay,
a sick freak.
I'm awake before other people. I can accomplish more.
Ow! On my face yet again. Okay, now you're a well-read guy. I want to ask you. Obviously, we recommend for all of our listeners to go out there and buy your book, How I Got There, How I Overcame Racism, Poverty, and Abuse to Achieve the American Dream. But what are maybe one or two other books that really impacted you throughout your life?
The number one at the top of the list, and I know some people don't like this book, but Think and Grow Rich, especially because I didn't have, my background was just so chaotic. There was no real path for me, and so that gave me some insight into maybe how to structure different things. I straightforward, I've sat by myself and pretended that I had this council of people around me. Okay, what would Jeff Bezos do? What would Mark Benioff do? And I've pretended I'm sitting there with counsel with these people. What would Andrew Carnegie do, or J.P. Morgan? And I would literally sit there and pretend I had this council of people around me. So Think and Grow Rich was probably the number one influence.
Do you know what my son's name is?
What's that?
It's Aubrey Napoleon Hill Clark.
No kidding.
Yeah. True story. And you know this, I don't know if you know this, but my son was actually born blind. And you know that story where Napoleon Hill's son was born without ears?
Yes, yeah.
My son can see now.
See, so needless to say, you like the book as well.
Love the book. Obsessed with the book. I mean, it's awesome. If you give us book number 2, you say book number 2, Clay, Think and Grow Rich, bam, boom, get that book. Give me one more book.
Right now, I'll give you a recent one that I recently finished that I love. It's called I Love Capitalism. And so for me, coming from where I come from, capitalism was my tool to exit the low economic place that I came from. And I do love capitalism. I feel that entrepreneurship, capitalism, the ability to make money, free trade, I love it. I've self-taught myself how to read, compile, and understand income statements, balance sheets, CapEx, OpEx, EBITDA. I say EBITDA to some people, they look at me like I'm a fool, but I've self-taught myself those things, and I'm very proud of this country and the free trade and the capitalism that we have.
Is this the co-founder of Home Depot?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Okay, awesome. We'll put it on the show notes there. Our listeners out there have become huge fans of yours during the last hour, and I would like to ask you, what is a website you would recommend all of our listeners to visit, or what's the one action step? Do you want them to buy your book, to visit your website? What's the best way to interact and to learn more about you?
Wow, learn more about me, maybe my philosophy, the way I think, the way I do things. On LinkedIn, I do a lot of posts on my way of thinking, how business should be done, mistakes that I've made throughout my career.
Yep.
I'm a big fan. If you could just give me this moment, I'm a big fan of sharing mistakes. I absolutely hate the phrase fail fast. I've spent my entire life trying to learn faster, so I don't even understand fail fast. The fact of the matter is, in my opinion, you only fail if you stop trying. And for me, I'm never going to stop trying to be the best husband, father, leader, and person in business that I can be. So I've made a ton of mistakes.
It's good.
As a first-time president of a software company, oh, God, made a ton of mistakes. Hell, I'm still making mistakes as a parent, as a CEO. But you only fail if you stop trying.
Thrive Nation, listen to this show twice, put it on repeat, and then play it back again. JT, you have been, again, over 1,500 interviews. This is my favorite interview ever. I hope that somebody can eventually exceed this, but this is the high water mark, man. I appreciate you being on the show, and I cannot tell you thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on the show.
Clay, humbled, honored. It was truly a privilege to be on the show, and I thank you for listening to me. And again, I'm a guy who worked hard and made the most of what this world and this country has given me.
Well, have a great day, my friend. And again, thank you on behalf of the entire Thrive Nation.
Take care, guys.
Meanwhile, at the Thrivetime Show offices after today's recording, the following stuff went down.
My man, Clay.
Hey, JT, I know it's kind of awkward to ask, but I was just hypothetically, suppose a guy like me wanted to invite a guy like you to attend the Thrivetime Show workshop on February 8th and 9th in Tulsa that our listeners can attend. Just hypothetically, you know, if I were to ask, would you want to attend an event like that?
Excellent. Man, Clay, I appreciate it. I am at your event, and anything else you need from me, man, shoot me a text, and I will do what I can to assist you.
So are you saying that you're actually going to attend the Thrivetime Show February 8th and 9th event?
If this is what I'm going to do, I am going to be the very best at anything it is that I'm doing.
Andrew, it's now time for some action steps.
All right, let's
just say that I love today's show, and I'm looking for some action steps. I'm going to give everybody 2 action steps here, all right?
Okay.
Action step number 1. I want everybody out there today to make a list of all of the excuses that you've been telling yourself for why you haven't been able to achieve your goals. Go ahead and write down all the excuses. Racism, poverty,
location. Yeah.
Poor education.
There you go.
No money. No family.
Yep.
Or bad family. I don't know if having a pimp as a father is probably the key to success. But write down whatever excuse that you've been putting in your mind over these years. I took algebra 3 times. I could say not good at math. My best friend died in a car accident, so I could say tragedy. My son was born blind, so I could say my wife had a miscarriage. My dad died of Lou Gehrig's disease. That's my story. You heard JT's story, but these should not be excuses. These adversities that we go through should not be viewed as setbacks. They need to be viewed as stepping stones to your ultimate achievement. It's time for us to change the narrative. Instead of viewing these bad situations as excuses that provide us with devastation and provide us with reasons and justification for not having success, we need to view these adversities as the motivation, as the very fuel that we need to succeed. And now, without any further ado, I'm fired up. 3, 2, 1, boom! What if one awkward, potentially even harsh conversation had the opportunity to serve as the catalyst that would forever change your life? My name is Clay Clark, and I'm the father of 5 kids. I had a goal to be a millionaire before the age of 30 and to hire my dad. And after I achieved my goals, I've spent the vast majority of my professional career helping people like you. Because I care enough about you, I'm willing to have that tough conversation with you today. Because I believe in your future and I know of your dynamic ability to change. Are you tired of chasing your rainbow dreams and being one of the 90% of American businesses that fail every single year? Are you tired of feeling stuck and being one of the 70% of Americans that hates their jobs? Are you looking to build a real business that will realistically create both time and financial freedom for you and your real family while you're still on Earth and healthy enough to enjoy it? Are you done with the pyramid schemes, the get-rich-quick hype programs, the no-money-down real estate scams, and those quasi-religious, feelings-focused motivational seminars? Are you looking for the practical and actionable business systems and processes and the strategies that both Dr. Zellner and I have used to build 13 multi-million-dollar real businesses? My friend, these are real companies. We're talking about a real multi-million-dollar optometry clinic, a real multi-million-dollar wedding photography service, a real multi-million-dollar durable medical equipment company, a real multi-million-dollar men's grooming franchise, a real multi-million-dollar marketing company, a real multi-million-dollar auto auction, a bank, a top 10 iTunes podcast in the category of business, and an Amazon best-selling book. So are we lucky? Do we just know how to pick the right industry, or do we know the proven path? My friend, why do 90% of businesses fail, yet all of our businesses don't? What if you knew the proven systems too? Would you too earn financial freedom? But will the system work for you? Well, I don't know. Call Rachel and Tyler Hastings with the Delricht Clinical Research in New Orleans. These folks have implemented our systems over the past 22 months, and they are now making an incredible monthly profit with Delricht Clinical Research of over $100,000 per month. Will the system work for you? I don't know. Call Thomas Crossan with Full Package Media in Dallas, Texas, and ask him what it feels like to go from being a startup to grossing over $100,000 per month with his real estate photography business within 26 months of joining our program and implementing the proven business strategies. But will the system work for you? I don't know. Call Rachel and Ryan with Tip Top Canine and ask them what it's like to grow their dog training business from just one location to over 8 locations within just 24 months, implementing our proven business coaching system. But will the system work for you? I don't know. Call Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes and ask him what it feels like to be Oklahoma's largest home builder and what it feels like to increase the amount of inbound leads that he receives by over 300% within just 18 months of implementing our proven system. So what does it cost? And what's included in this system? My friend, the Thrivetime Show business coaching program is now enrolling just 2,500 people out there just like you into our exclusive Ultimate Business Coaching Program. This program includes 1 ticket to the 2-day, 15-hour, and the world's highest and most reviewed business workshop at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This program will allow you exclusive access to email your questions to info@thrivetimeshow.com, where they can be answered on the podcast and the live radio show broadcasts. This program will give you access to over 2,500 business training videos taught by people like the former executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts, who once managed over 40,000 employees and 1 million customers per week. You can learn leadership, taught by the iconic investor and 2-time NBA champion, 2-time gold medalist, and NBA MVP David Robinson. You can learn public relations, taught by the PR consultant of choice for Nike, President Bush, President Clinton, Prince, Michael Jackson, Nancy Kerrigan, and Charlton Heston, and countless other world-class mentors. And my friend, you will gain exclusive VIP access to get a behind-the-scenes look at our businesses, including the elephant in the room. How do the systems work? Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates, how do the systems come together? And the Z66 auto auction. Okay, so what does the world's most effective and practical business school cost you? Well, if you went to the University of Tulsa and studied at a private school, you won't learn anything that will help you to start or grow a real business, and it will cost you $40,221 per year. Now, if you went to Oral Roberts University, where I personally went to school, and studied business at yet another private school, you still won't learn anything practical there either that will help you to grow a successful company. But it will cost you $41,024 per year. So let's do the math. That means that the Thrivetime Show Business School without the BS experience is $39,993 less per year than the University of Tulsa. Again, that means that the Thrivetime Show Business Coaching Program is $39,993 less per year than the University of Tulsa. And that's why we've made our program exclusively available for just 2,500 people like you at a cost of just $19 per month, which comes out to a whopping $228 per year. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. Thrive Nation, this is your opportunity to experience the world's best business coaching program for $20 a month. So why wouldn't you do it? Well, according to studies conducted by Nielsen, other people, not you, but the average American is watching TV 5.2 hours per day and consuming 2.3 hours per day of social media. And so they don't have time to invest $19 per month in a coaching program. Did you know that according to Forbes, 88% of the world's rich people spend 30 minutes per day reading and studying on how to improve their practical business skills? My friends, I'm a father of 5 kids. And I know that my kids get to enjoy the fruits of my financial freedom, not because I'm a genius, but because I know the proven systems. I took the ACT 3 times. I had to take algebra 3 times just to pass. I got kicked out of college. Trust me, if I can do it, you can too. My friend, you have nothing to lose, but you will lose by default if you do nothing. So are you going to act and take advantage of this exclusive offer before all 2,500 spots are taken? Or are you just going to become yet another sad example of the 90% of American businesses that fail and the 70% of Americans, according to Gallup, that hate their jobs? Reserve your spot and enroll in the world's best business school today at thrivetimeshow.com. It's just $19 a month. Reserve your spot and enroll in the world's best business school today at thrivetimeshow.com. My friend, it's just $19 per month, and there's only 2,500 spots available. Do not miss out on this exclusive opportunity. Thrive Nation, every single day somebody reaches out to me, literally every single day somebody reaches out to me and they say, I'm in an industry that's saturated. I'm a mortgage provider. I'm an insurance provider. I'm a car salesman. I'm a dentist. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. And they say, how do I stand out in this cluttered world of commerce? How can I reach my ideal and likely buyers? And on today's show, we're interviewing a longtime client that's having remarkable success very quickly. And he provides insurance to anybody watching today's show. He provides insurance to people all over across this great nation. He's a great friend of the program. Brett, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Good, Clay. Thanks for having me.
So, Brett, let's start off with the controversial stuff. First off, what's your last name? How do we properly pronounce your last name?
Meal, like Happy Meal.
Okay, and your website, I want to prove that you're not a hologram. The website is leisureinsurancegroup.com,
Right.
leisureinsurancegroup.com. For the people watching today's show, what kind of listeners can you help? What states, what kind of products, who can you help?
Yeah, we're mainly focused in Oklahoma and Texas. We have some clients right now in Colorado, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, but mainly Oklahoma and Texas is where we're focused right now.
So how did you first hear about me? What 4 choices did you make that caused you to end up in my office?
I have a friend of a friend that said, hey, you need to meet my friend Clay. And it's been history ever since. And I think he's a friend of the show. His name's Steve Currington.
Now, working with you, so many people, when they think about business growth, they think, oh, we're going to have walk on hot coals, take hours and hours talking about our vision. And really, that's not what I do at all. My goal is to help you grow your business so you and your wife can pursue the vision that you believe God's given you and your wife. I try to keep our meetings to the point, pragmatic, so I'm not wasting your time. Can you talk about the non-length of our meetings? Because I think a lot of times people think when they hire a business coach who's helping them grow, they're going to be stuck in massive long meetings. Talk about kind of the overall flow or the focus of our meetings.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, how the week before went, which is great because it's all about accountability. So if I've hit all my markers for the week or metrics for the week, sometimes that meeting's a 10 to 15 minute, hey, good job, keep doing it, you're doing great. Sometimes we got to dive a little deeper, and sometimes those meetings go 30 minutes, but the most it's ever taken is 45, I think. And we were kind of dealing with some website issues. So, average time is 20 to 30. and really productive, and highly accountable.
Now, your growth has been outstanding. I don't want to exaggerate the result. I just was looking at the tracking sheet today, and I don't want to give a wrong number or wrong percentage, but I mean, have you grown double the size you were before you met us? Have you grown 10 times, 1 time, 33 times? How much larger are you now than when you first started with us?
Well, the prior company I was with before was a captive group, and in my first 6 months in the brokerage and working with you, I had already sold more in the 6 months than I did in my 2.5 to 3 years with the other company.
And just to be clear, when you say captive company, what that means is you're selling insurance for one particular brand. And so you're pitching a specific brand. And now you're free. If people go to Leisure Insurance, if they go to your website right now, if anybody goes to your website, that's leisureinsurancegroup.com, you can now sell a variety of products. Am I getting that correct, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a contract with, several different AM best rated carriers that we find the best rate with the best coverage on the market. And when you with a captive agent, they have one carrier and that they can shop with. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not so good because you can't control rate.
Now you're saying more product now in a month than maybe you used to sell in a year. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So actually last month was July. And ever since I've been in this industry 4 to 5 years now, we've always known July is to be our worst and lowest month we've ever had. And that's the mindset everyone has. And since working with you, my mindset obviously has changed a lot about what's possible, what we can do. And July, which was last month, was the largest month I've ever had on record by triple. So I tripled last July's production, and it was just a real testament to just stay with the process, keep going. And I just had the biggest month in what is traditionally our lowest month.
Now, this is big. Whenever you take the sun, for anybody out there who wants to talk about the sun and magnifying glasses, and someone says, I like this. Are we going to talk about burning ants? What you do is you take the sun's rays and you harness them via the magnifying glass, and you focus that magnifying glass on a given area. And if you do it, you can cause something to burn. You can cause a fire. Now, if you don't focus on core tasks until success, you will never create enough heat or enough heat, enough energy to actually start a fire. And I believe that's a big part of growing a business. And so every single week, and again, there's 14 steps to growing a business. I'm just focusing on one of them during today's testimonial video or success story video. Every week, I talk about VISM, video reviews, images, search engine content, more reviews. That represents the entire marketing plan. Video reviews, images, search engine content, more reviews. Can you talk about just the maddening nature of having somebody that literally obsesses on the same thing every week? I mean, I know it produces fruit, but also knowing that it's a simple plan that actually works.
Yeah. I mean, just today, I think we spent about 5 minutes of our meeting talking about VISM, and today's main thing was Google reviews. Get more Google reviews. Get more Google reviews. And I'm a believer because there's proof in the pudding. And so whenever you say it, I just know, hey, you're applying pressure to this because we're onto something and we're on a heater and we need to keep going. And so I just trust the process and get more Google reviews. I think we got 10 today. So.
Now, your business, again, I just want to be very clear because you're saying you're now selling 3 times more this July than you sold last July. Am I getting that right, sir?
Yeah.
And you're selling more in what, a month than you used to sell in a half a year, or what's a better way to articulate that? I'm just trying to, because again, people listen to this show, they're listening because, they want to have real results. How would you best describe the results you've had?
Gosh. I mean, what I used to do with our old company in 1 month, I do in a week on average.
So you're now closing 4 times more deals than you used to close.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. Okay, so now this is the system. I'm giving people the system. Someone says, what's the secret system? A lot of these ridiculous business coaching programs, they have this system where you pay $1,700 this month
And the next month we'll teach you the secret.
We just charge a flat rate of $1,700 per month. Someone says, what? 1,700. That's a 20% margin. Thus, I make $340 a month per client. It's really a simple system. I've been doing this since 2005. So we talked about this system. I'm going to go through these 14 points. Box number 1, with every client, we sit down, we figure out your revenue goals. What are your yearly goals? What are your weekly goals? We do that. Okay. Second, what's your break-even number? Can you talk about the importance of knowing your numbers now? I mean, really knowing how much you have to sell just to break even?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to have a target to hit. You can't just go in and hope and wish and dial without having a target. And so you've been really good about saying, okay, well, I remember that first meeting because it was like, here's what I think we should do or could do. And we've exceeded that. And we've, over the last year, really just incrementally added more numbers. We've upped the numbers. Okay, cool. You got 20 this week. How about 50? Okay, you made X amount of calls. How about 50 more this week? And so we just consistently up those numbers. And so we are not just hitting the goal, because once we've hit it, you always push me to go further and get and reach for more. And so that's been incredible to see.
Now, next, I want to really, really hammer this, folks. Box 3. Define the number of hours per week you want to work. I'm not advocating for men to get divorced. I am somebody who does read the book of Genesis and Exodus, and I do believe in the concept of a 6-day work week and the Sabbath rest on the 7th. However, I have clients that work 4 days a week. I have clients that literally, I have one guy I talked to today. I won't mention his name. He jokes. His goal is to figure out how many minutes per week he can work. He literally is to a point where he's trying to work less than an hour a week. And he spends that hour just following up on certain things. And so everyone's got their own goals, but how important is it to know the time blocking, like block out time in your schedule, especially as a father and a married guy?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. And, I sat down with my wife when we started this new venture, said, hey, I'm getting challenged a lot. And, for us to get where we need to go, I need to go in on Saturday. So I work Monday to Saturday. And you've been really good about helping me figure out what's important to focus on and time blocking it. It's really good working with you because I can see your actual calendar and how to stay accountable to things and to actually finish it. It's also encouraging because I see your calendar and realize how light my calendar is. So there's never an excuse to not get anything done. So
yeah, it's, what? And the time blocking is such a big thing for anybody out there. Time blocking. You got to block out time. Box number 4, unique value proposition. At Leisure Insurance, I would argue you guys are allowing people to find the best rates possible. The best plan, the best rates, the best policy. People could call it the 3 Ps. I tell non-captive insurance agents I work with, I talk about the 3 Ps a lot. When they ask me, they say, what can I do to make my brand different? I say, focus on the 3 Ps. They say, what are the 3 Ps? I say, best price, best product, easiest person to work with. Best product, best price, easiest person to work with. How has it helped you knowing that you got a website that represents you? Because we do include the photography, the video, the web, the search engine, the branding, the online ads, all of that's included. How much has that helped you go out there as an individual, knowing that you have a website that represents those 3 Ps behind the scenes?
Yeah, as a business owner and someone that's just driving the business, I don't have to focus on it. That's a huge load and mental load and even just skill set I don't have to think about it. And, to know that you guys are consistently updating that and putting that out there. So it's just one thing off my plate and I can focus on what's really important.
Now we're moving through these boxes again, folks. I've written a book. You can download it for free. I've written 30 plus books, but you can download this book for free. It's called A Millionaire's Guide. You can download it for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. You can download the book for free, thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. Box number 5, branding. People do judge you based upon the first impression, website, print piece, logo, branding. Box number 6, we talked about it. That's the marketing strategy for you, in particular, VISM. You've got to have a 3-legged marketing stool, a sturdy stool of at least 3 ways that you market in a sustainable way. I do not ask you to do things on a weekly basis that are not scalable. I focus on repetitive systems that work. Can you just give the listeners out there an example? How much are your Google leads up this time, this month versus, let's say, 6 months ago?
Oh my gosh. 10x. I mean, legit 10x.
Yeah. So how has that impacted you having your Google leads go up by 10x?
I mean, yeah, and my phone rings nonstop, and which people are wanting to buy or interested in buying your product, so they're automatically a prospect, and so um, it's been awesome. I don't, the marketing leg of just having leads come to you is such a load lifted off my shoulders.
Now we look at box number 7, having a sales conversion system. You do a great job with this, but you have sales scripts, recorded calls, print materials that make sense, pre-written emails. You got it in place. Box number 8, figuring out how much profit you actually make. You do a great job. You got to measure what you treasure. Tracking is a big part of success. You do a great job of that. Cumulatively, I think we all do a great job of that on your account, keeping track of the numbers that matter. Box number 9, you got to be organized to build an organization. This just in. You've got to be organized to build an organization. You got to create repeatable systems if you want to scale a company. You got to be organized to build an organization. Can you talk about that a little bit? Having a team behind the scenes that knows where to find files and organizes your business cards and print pieces in a way where you can actually find your passwords?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a sheet that is the agenda sheet that's got, everything you can think of. It's got last year's lead tracker. It's got last year's sales report. It's got the password sheet. It's got the contracts. It's got scripts. It's got everything you think of. So if you lose something or can't find it, you know where to find it. It's on the agenda.
That is the move. And again, folks, this is what a scalable business looks like here. Around in the corner here, we move on to the next system. It's so important. Box number 8. What? Box number 8. Again, you've got to know your customer acquisition costs. What does it take? What does it cost you to get a new customer? Box 9. You have to create repeatable systems, processes, and file organization. Box number 10, you got to manage people as you grow. Once you nail it, you got to scale it. And eventually you have to manage people. We do talk about that a lot in our business coaching. For sake of time today, we won't get into that a lot, but you've got to find a way to hold people accountable. Carrot and stick, merit-based pay. Box number 11, you've got to create a sustainable weekly schedule. That's a financial tip and a marriage tip. If you want to keep at least 51% of your net worth, don't get divorced, okay? So you've got to create a repetitive weekly schedule. Box number 12, you got to hire great people. You got to hire people. This just in, folks. You got to hire great people that you can train and retain, people that are already inspired to do what is required, and we teach how to do that. And then box 13, you got to make sure you have money left in the account. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Again, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. So you got to look at the accounting. And then box 14, you say, what's the point of success? And I think that's where we're kind of getting with you right now. It's like, what is the point? When you're to a point now where you're looking at your calendar, you look at your week, your recurring business, your recurring your recurring billing, your insurance, where people go ahead and re-up their policy, they continue their policy. You have residual income coming in. You've got referrals flying in. People are now recommending you. You're starting to get to a place of financial abundance, prosperity. Then you can sit back and say, man, what's the point of this? And that's where we talk about our goals for our faith, our family, our finances, our fitness, friendship, fun. I'm going to let you kind of put a ribbon on the box here, or a bow on the present here. What would you say to anybody out there who's watching this that maybe is on the fence about scheduling a free 13-point assessment with myself and or attending one of our interactive 2-day business workshops?
Yeah, if you care about your business, invest in it, and it's totally worth showing up and at least listening. And if you can stay coachable and stay humble, I promise you it'll work, because it worked for me, and I just know that there's proof in the pudding.
Who's not a good fit? Who's somebody you say, hey, bro, seriously, bro, they only take on 160 clients, bro, save yourself the time. Don't fill out the form. Who should not be going to thrivetimeshow.com to schedule a free consultation?
If you think you know how to do it already and you're just stuck in your ways and you're not going to work hard, that's who.
Okay. And then final question I have here for you. How has the one-on-one business coaching impacted your life?
Oh, it's been huge. The accountability is probably the bigger thing. Sitting in a room with you and some other business leaders, knowing that they've walked the same road I have, maybe not the exact same road, but they've been in my shoes, and there's just such encouragement. I always leave my meetings encouraged, believed in, and challenged. And so that's huge, because I want to grow and I want to go to whatever's next for me and take my family there.
Folks, another way you can challenge yourself is to Try driving your car with 3 wheels. That's a way to challenge yourself. Just rip off one of the tires, drive around with 3 wheels. That's something you could do. Another way you could challenge yourself is you could try to figure out the Rubik's Cube today. You could look at it, you try to figure out how to get it to work. You could go to the mall and stare at one of those paintings or posters where if you look at it long enough, you could eventually see something else. Those are ways you could challenge yourself. But I would recommend you challenge yourself to create time freedom and financial freedom. And also, if you're looking for insurance, and I know you are, I would encourage you to go to the website. I'm going to pull up the website one more time. That website you can go to is leisureinsurancegroup.com, leisureinsurancegroup.com. If you're in Oklahoma and or Texas, leisureinsurancegroup.com. You can go there to compare rates. Brett, thank you so much for your time today, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Clay.
Bye-bye. JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We have the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. You're going to come. I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed to the business owner to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there, too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much. And thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa.